it's 10,000.
I am Todd from GoodCleanFunLife.com.
And I'm Tony Russo, a little startled from OceanCity.com. I didn't see him hit the go button. I was looking away, and you started talking.
Well, at least in 207 shows.
Yeah, that's the first time I've been caught off guard.
I think that's the first intro where you've been talking over.
Yeah, just walking away. Lots of stuff going on. This is the end of the year, so we're going to be doing a lot of the end of the year stuff. Just noticed this pen in my pocket. It distracts me. A lot of the end of the year stuff. We had Christmas had happened. We had a couple movies came out we may want to talk about. So let's just start right there. No foreplay on this.
No, not at all. The Star Wars film came out. We talked about it on the last podcast as, it being a big deal.
Right.
We actually talked, I think, a little bit about the genius of the marketing machine behind it.
I noticed something while I usually watch movies when I work out. I don't know if I told you this.
Yes.
Okay. But lately I've been trying to get more calories out of myself, so I've been listening to heavy metal. And on Sunday I watched football, like with the sound off, because I can't stand
anybody talking. They're all terrible.
I'm embarrassed for them.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed for them. Because if I had that kind of money, I would just move to Wyoming and grow potatoes and not have to humiliate myself week after week by revealing how fucking stupid I am. I have to continue to act like a moron because they don't pay me enough to buy a potato farm in Wyoming.
Right.
The second they did, I do that for a year, buy a potato farm, stop being a jerk. Anyway, so
you're watching football.
The licensing genius of this Star Wars is that the companies who've purchased the rights to use the Star Wars imagery in their commercials get my attention.
Yeah.
It says Star Wars. It's just the same thing. The logo has not changed in 44 years or whatever, 40 years.
Yeah.
Logo has not changed. I see that, all of a sudden my eyes are drawn to the screen.
Yes.
Which I'll bet they make more from that.
Well, they're talking about how big the deal was to purchase Star Wars.
Right.
They're talking about how much money it costs to make the first movie, and that they have to reach like the $2 billion mark to, one, to be the best grossing movie of all time, right, but also for the business side of stuff. And so what there's barely enough people on the planet for it to be $1 billion. So they're counting on people to watch it twice, and they're counting on the merchandising of everything.
And they've got to be approaching. They've
already
passed $1 billion, right? They've got to be approaching $2 billion.
Yeah, they've already passed $1 billion. And case in point, last movie I went to see in the movie theater was, I don't even know.
Yeah.
And it was probably at least a year ago. This movie I've seen twice in the theater.
Yeah, I might see it a third time when I go to New Jersey. I saw it in Pennsylvania. I saw it in Maryland. So I figure I'll see it in 4 different states or something like that. One of the things that was really heartening about watching it here, I saw it actually in Ocean City at the Sudden Surf.
Great new chairs.
With the chairs. The first time I saw it in Pennsylvania. It was a 3:00 show, and it was good, and people were happy. But there was audience participation in the Christmas day. Like there were screams, there were shouts, there were clapping.
Yeah.
My poor wife was losing her mind.
Yeah.
And it was really nice. It was nice that like the title card got a round of applause.
Yeah.
And several points during the movie where I feel a month.
A month, that's when we're going to let spoilers out?
I feel like if you haven't seen it in the first month.
I could go with that.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not making an effort.
No.
You don't care enough.
Yeah, I say 2 weeks with this movie. But
give it a month. Because it's the holidays.
We're fans, and we want people to be.
They're traveling.
Our foreign listeners, watchers.
Well, and there are people like my wife. And I was talking about this before, but I'll talk about it again. My wife was not interested at all, and she actually was convinced by advertising to go see it.
Yeah.
She was convinced by content marketing. She was reading stories about it online. She read Entertainment Weekly. We get Entertainment Weekly every week or whatever. It's so horrible, but she gets it. What am I gonna do? She's my wife. I love her. But so she read a story in Entertainment Weekly, and then she read other stuff online. And
Stephen King that has a column in Entertainment Weekly.
Does he really?
Yeah.
What is it about?
You should pick it. It's the back page, or he did a year or so ago when we got it as a
present.
Guilty pleasure.
Oh, I don't know if he does it every week. I feel like she would have told me if he did it every week.
It's good.
Or maybe she doesn't get that far in it. I think it's one of those things where, it's one of those things where, like, when a kid comes and, like, buy magazines for me to support my Boy Scout troop, you want to get something that's it.
Right.
I mean, I get the New Yorker. She gets Entertainment Weekly, Actually, she bought me the New Yorker.
Everybody has their
fair enough. But anyway, so it was stuff like that convinced her to go. And that's why I feel like people can get a month, because they may need
a little bit more.
The word that's coming out now is you don't have to be really into Star Wars to love this movie.
Right. And
that's going to take a little while to leak out to people, that it's not like you can know nothing going in, and you may not get some of the little Easter eggs, as we were talking about before, little
nuances,
they I mean, part of it, this is not a spoiler, but part of it takes place in the Millennium Falcon, and so you have a little flashback to the first movie, but that's barely even icing. It's barely even icing.
Yeah, in fact, what I found interesting, being a huge Star Wars fan and seeing it, I could see what they were doing. It's not a reboot in any sense of the word. But it's a great opportunity to get new fans. Right,
you can start right on the ground floor, and it's not hard to follow. It's not complicated. You don't need to know anything at all about it.
Right,
and it stands alone perfectly well.
Yes, yeah, and I was very much impressed with that, with the character development, with every little bit, the practical effects that they talked about, and was so much of the problem with the episodes 1 through 3, which were the prequels that came after the original trilogy. Oh, I actually learned something when I was home on Christmas break too.
What is that?
There's this weird thing. I knew that I had seen Star Wars like 15 times, but it didn't make sense to me because Star Wars came out.
You felt like you were too young.
Yes, it came out in '77. Well, I found out, talking to my parents, about 4 years after Star Wars, so I would have been around 8 years old, it came to the Dollar Theater that was 2 blocks from my house. So
that's when you saw it 15 times.
Every weekend, Mom was like, here's $1, here's $1, here's $1. So so that's how that was the summer of love for me.
And I was explaining this to people. I mean, I'm older than you, so I'll die first, but also I got to see Star Wars first. I don't think people who didn't see it as a kid at that time can imagine how much it changed, like what we expected from movies. Like there's just there's no people like, you don't get it because you've seen Transformers, or because there's a world where there is Transformers.
Right.
The idea that the movie-going experience could be forever altered for a generation of kids is just fantastic. And from that, I want to go to the lead character in this being a woman. And how that is probably going to be a huge game changer. They said this film passes the Bechdel test.
I read the article, and I don't know where the origin of that is, but I understand that's the
right. The Bechdel test is like, is the woman protagonist dependent upon men? Yeah. And they say that almost all women protagonists end up being dependent upon men. It's evidence that Hollywood can't write a decent role for women. Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, how often do they talk about men? How much about being, into men is their character? And then she's just right along the line.
Yeah.
So
great character, great. And I was excited. I admitted we saw it for the first time without the kids, who are also big fans. But then we took them, and I was very excited for my daughter to see the movie because, Nellie's the one who's talking about Mad Max and how it was such a great feminist film because, female protagonist again. So I was really excited for that. And again, great job all the way around.
And tiny spoiler, believe the last scene of the movie might be the best last scene in any movie in any movie ever. It's
Yes.
in like I said to my friend, it's in this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship kind of
Right.
Kind of. It was just.
Well, what did they say? I read something about the first line of the movie. The first line of a movie kind of sets the whole tone of the movie, as well as you could say the last line of a movie sets the whole tone of the series.
Right.
And that last scene, was
and I just want to also the guy that played Poe.
Yes,
the new best wisecrack line of all times. Like, okay, so who talks first?
Yes,
first?
yes. Yes. It was
very well done.
It was and that seemed very J.J. Abrams to me. To sort of, you have a very intense scene, and then you have this sort of like real life kind of moment. You know? It's somebody you can instantly identify with because you can feel the the tension of the bad guy staring into the, and it's, dramatic. Right. And then it just, goes away without losing the, without losing the story. Yeah, that was good. So yeah, in 2 weeks or so, we'll do we could do theory
or we at least don't have to be afraid of talking about spoilers anymore.
Right.
But I feel like I said, I feel like there are a lot of people out there. I think that if whatever this movie makes, the next one will make it at least as much, only because I think that by February 2016, there will be more Star Wars fans, like legitimate, like, oh, this is a thing for me. And I don't want to be too talking down to women, but I really do think that we're going to see more 12 and 14-year-old girls at and latching on to this. And I think it's awesome.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's Star Wars.
Star Wars. That was what we were up to in the last 2 weeks.
I actually the last 2 weeks I've also been preparing my year in review, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit. And this is the first time I've written a year in review in 2 years. I do it very differently from I think anybody. I'm gonna claim that I haven't seen any that are just like mine. Because mine is a column about what happened during the year in culture and the news for my coverage area, which is something that, like, especially this year. I mean, this year it's for Laurel and Seaford mostly, and no one is writing that there. But it's something that I've always been pretty proud of, and sometimes I do a good job, sometimes I do a bad job. And I wasn't going to do it this year. I had actually talked to my boss and said, you know what, I'll just post some of the old stories. And then I'm like, no, that's what everyone else does. So I'm looking forward to that. And one of the things that I'm noticing, and this is where we're going to bring it into the content marketing aspect of it, is how I see the frustration in my work for not being able to get it out on the internet during that period of time when I was on the newspaper. Because all of my stories appeared in print, and that was it. And then the website, such as it was, would have the main story up for a month or a week or a day, and then it would just be replaced, and it didn't live anywhere online. And so by March, which is the month that I'm just finishing up now, I had started going back and finding my favorite stories, and I posted them on this blogger. I invented this blog called Russo Clips, just so nice, because I was looking for because
it was the print stuff and it wasn't anywhere
exactly, and it was a place where people could see it, because and this is something we're thinking about when people call and say, well, where can I see it, where can I share it? People expect to be able to share things socially.
Absolutely.
And if you can't give people that opportunity to get in touch with your stuff online, it's going to be a problem for you in the long term.
We're talking to you print magazines.
Yeah, not even print magazines, because even I was thinking today. Actually, I'm going to go visit them today, and so I might even say something. But when I went to Ocean City Brewing, I was looking up the Ocean City Brewing Company phone number. And its Google business page isn't filled out. And that seems just like leaving money on the table. Like, I had to click on their website to get their phone number, and I did because it was a business call. And
Sure.
But it's, there's no reason that the brick and mortar places aren't taking full advantage of that.
I mean, and that is the specific reason of why you have to have that, because I know we've talked about it before. You're driving somewhere and you do a voice search, and the nearest brewery, driving down Coastal Highway, and if you don't have the information, hours, phone number, all of that,
you're not gonna have the opportunity. So that's one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot, is how much. And we spoke about Netflix. We had to double check because we couldn't remember, but we spoke about Netflix 2 weeks ago, and I feel like that's kind of the new gold standard for good content that drives revenue. And I mean, I'm not saying that anyone needs to be Netflix, but they're the ones who said, you know what, if we invest money to make sure people watch, they will pay us to watch.
Yeah.
We're not, because they almost died when they switched.
Yeah, remember when you used to have to mail away things?
Yeah, they almost died.
Like you almost forget about that.
Maybe pay for it. Yeah.
Well, and I think they're doing a great job. And
I have to share with you a quote from my daughter, and I want to get it right, because it's my new
regarding
new thing.
Netflix.
Yeah, and no, it's regarding where is it?
Let's even you talk about year in review type stuff. The fact that Netflix and chill became a popular statement with the young kids.
Yeah.
Like that was.
I forget that people are old. Like she forgets that people are old, because we were talking about. I was talking about the other problem that I was going over. She was hanging out when I was writing this, and I was talking about how people would type up letters to the editor and mail them.
Yeah.
And how it would just drive me absolutely berserk. And not only that, but they would be about nothing that's in the paper. Like mostly they would be about how Donald Trump is misunderstood, and that's kind of just very, very or liberal, but they were very, very outlandish political statements like that were a la talk radio.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Why are you so
wrong?
No, lonely. Like how desperately do you need to be heard?
Yeah.
That you're going to send us stuff that doesn't. I mean, we write about kittens and puppies and the Board of Education.
Right.
When was the last time you saw a story about the presidential race? It doesn't happen unless the presidential race stops in Laurel or Seaford. It's not an issue. And one of the things that I like about what I'm doing now is I don't do hard news at all. But even when I was here in town and doing some hard news, I was always an advocate of there are people who are already doing that better.
Right. Well, so you're doing the year in review, and it kind of raises the question about news in general.
Right.
And that quote about, I forget people are old, is a great quote, because we live in the information age. And actually somebody posted something about this on social media. You have these outlandish articles or comments or whatever that, that usually politically affiliated. And if you're not taking the time to go to the resource that the web is to find out for yourself, you shouldn't be making any sort of commentary on what somebody else, thinks. You can make commentary and say you're stupid or whatever, and that's, all it is. But, we're in an age now. I've also seen the quote where, the politicians are entertainment and the comedians are the news source, a la Jon Stewart and that sort of thing. But it's almost one of those things where you're like news. You raised a question last week or 2 weeks ago last time we were together about what's going to happen in the next 5 or 10 years. Like news is almost, everybody's right to find out for them, for themselves. So this whole liberal media or, all of that eventually, I don't know, maybe goes away. And you just have people who are Snapchatting because they happen to be close by. And then you have professionals commenting on what is everybody can see.
I get there's plenty in that. One of the things that makes me nervous is the fact of the movie Spotlight. Are you familiar with the movie Spotlight?
No.
All right. So the movie just came out. It's called Spotlight. It's like Robert Redford.
Oh, yes.
And it's about the Boston Globe breaking the Catholic Church. My glasses aren't on, but I'll do this anyway. The Catholic Church sex scandal. And, you know, there should be institutions that can, at the risk of sounding too hokey about it, that can speak truth to power, you know? And I think that individuals, and I'm one of those individuals, can speak truth to power in a trolly way, but in a coordinated effort to try to make things better.
Yeah. You
really do need, you know, professionals doing a professional job. That said, it's just not done anymore.
Right.
It's not done. No offense intended to my friends and colleagues, but it's not done here locally. They are not doing anything that I'm not doing. And,
right.
You know,
so there's like news, and then there's investigative journalism.
Right. And what I've been thinking about a lot is what we miss. What do we gain from the news, and what do we lose by not having it? And I think we're getting used to not having it, and it's okay because it doesn't hurt yet.
Right.
And you know, I don't know if it's ever going to hurt. I think that for many of the big issues, the horse has left the barn.
Right.
So I saw an interesting talk on GMOs last year, for example, by an anti-GMO type person, and she said that most of the anti-GMO stuff you hear is a lie, and it's intentionally a lie. And the reason it's a lie is because it's too late and the truth wasn't working.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And when you hear things like that, you know, this whole destruction of this idea of truth, I hope to be the heroine, like not girl hero, but
right.
drug of the rest of my life. And I'm going to just do what I can to make people feel a little bit better about how shitty things can be sometimes. And that's a very Buddhist thing to say, but I don't think there's anything more you can do than try and ease the suffering.
Yeah.
Just take the edge off.
I'm pretty sure that's my business model.
Yeah.
I'm a very thoughtful person, but my job is to pour champagne.
Yeah, just why not, right?
Yeah,
let's strike up the band while the Titanic sinks. I don't think there's any point in doing anything more serious than that. Well, only because it's ignored. It's not that the information isn't out there.
Right.
It's that people already, you said that people already know what they think, and convincing them isn't, if you have the skill, if you have the information to convince them, you don't have the skill.
Right.
If you have the skill to convince them, you probably don't have the information.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and and eventually, hopefully, the pendulum swings away from the shaming society and polarizing society that we are, to be like, there's let's look at both things. Right. Let's have a little bit of rhetoric,
but at the end of the day, it almost all doesn't matter. Like right. How little it matters is horrifying. And I think that, and Mike, the conspiracy brain in me says that one of the things that is there a bird here?
Yeah.
Is that a visiting bird, or is that a bird that you own?
We've been babysitting 2 birds for a couple of years now.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I haven't met them before.
You thought you were having a stroke, didn't you? You mentioned Buddhism and started hearing birds chirping.
So the idea is that what you can do to affect things, like if anybody knew, like if all of ISIS showed up at once,
right,
they probably couldn't take a small Massachusetts town. Forget Texas. They probably couldn't take Palm Beach.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so but if your job is to protect me, you're not protecting me, then what am I paying you for?
Right.
And if there's nothing dangerous to me, what am I paying you for?
Right.
And I think most of it is trying to shape people's worldview. And so the way that I sleep at night is that I say that I'm trying to shape people's worldview as well, but not with information so much as with suggestions about how to look at things positively,
right?
You know, and why this is crappy and why it's okay,
right? Which is saying a lot for you.
Yes.
You know, the harbinger of positivity.
Well, yeah,
you have never been accused of being.
Yeah, well, it's secret though. You know, it's secret in there. It's like you're like, oh yeah, like
it's fun.
I'll think of that later on, and I'll remember it. So
yeah, I agree with you. You know, I look at, and I have to mention the Redskins. I have to mention sports. The Redskins are in first place in the NFC, top of the turd pile.
Right.
But you know, it's like if the world and politics go the way of sports, which we are as a culture so obsessed with, it will probably end up being okay, because you know you can totally hate your neighbor who's the Philadelphia Eagles fan,
right?
But you can do it in such a loving and camaraderie sort of way.
Real, yeah.
And you know, to pull it back to the political debate, it's just that people are so caught up in the fear and you know, the outlandishness of what people are saying, that you know that's not really going to happen.
No,
you know, there's not really going to be a wall that's built.
No,
you know,
it's just fun to talk about. I actually said to my editor when I was working in Easton, and it nearly broke her heart. I said, you know, politics is sports for boring people.
Yeah.
She's like, no, it's simple. It's not. It's not important. It's. I mean, it's important to you, and you like it. I know lots of people who make their living in politics, and they're not different from people who make their living in sports. They go out for drink ups afterwards. They go
so much so that there is a DraftKings type site for political campaigns. Did you know this?
It doesn't shock me.
And I don't have the information, and it's some like stock market thing. I'll have to do some research to find out.
Oh, that one I know, yeah.
But it's like you're basically buying stock in a political candidate.
Right.
And I mean, from like small, you know, school board elections up to the presidential race. And so it's DraftKings for politics.
And the idea, I guess the idea is to get people more involved, but the number of people who are involved is always going to be just like the number of people who are involved in sports. Every year, a couple more people are like, hey, I like football, or hey, I'm going to start watching hockey. But that's pretty much it. The people who are the demographic are the demographic.
Right.
And so last year, I didn't. I think the last election was the first election I didn't vote in. I voted for Barack Obama because I'm a bandwagoner. I wanted to say I voted for the first black president. Why not?
Sure.
But that's
Good
one of the
you.
But it's one of the things that I've kind of given up on. Unless there's a real unless we live in Maryland. I don't know if you know that or not. So unless there's someone who I want to see in for sure, I don't. And I'll skip some of the races. Like I always vote against the incumbent judges, because fuck judges.
because
but, you know, it's just why should you get to live for free just because someone gave you a job?
Right.
So I always vote against incumbent judges.
Sorry to argue with that, you know.
And I don't vote for people I don't care about, and I don't vote in races I don't care about, and I know about them. And then that's the thing. Like, and
right,
I'm informed, and my information says stay clear of this.
Like, stay clear. So back to year in review.
Year in review.
We went off a little bit.
I'm sorry. So yes, we've gotten through March, and that's already up at oceancity.com if you want to take a look at it. It should be done. It will be done by New Year's Day when I'll start promoting it. And look for me to start promoting more things on Twitter, because I've kind of fell off of Twitter for a while, but I'm getting back to it.
I definitely fallen off Twitter, but I'm planning on picking up Snapchat.
Just learning.
No, I mean I have it. I've had success with it, but I think it's a real thing for the vlogging world, you know, and it's something that I need to do, and it's super easy. was watching a bunch of old clips, old movies that I made.
Uh-huh.
Way back to like even when I was doing on-camera editing, stop motion with my Star Wars figures.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, but yeah, Snapchat's a great way to tell a story. Beginning, middle, and end.
I'm going to look into it. Also, breaking news: Google Primer. Are you familiar?
Google Primer.
Google Primer.
No.
Kids, this is
Google
actual
Primer.
SEO.
Tony's tip.
Tony's tip. Google has an app that you cannot use on your computer. You can only use it on your phone. It's for when you're standing in line or spending an unreasonable amount of time in the bathroom or whatever. And it's how to use
things
SEO.
Oh.
And how to get the most from your Google posting and your blog posting and your websites. And you read the stuff. I'm sorry, I'm showing him.
Yeah.
You read the stuff. You take little tests. Yeah. You take little tests. Read the
new content.
Read the
test your content before you invest.
And so these are just the names of the classes. And so innovative crowdfunding, raise more than money. And then if you want to know about crowdfunding, you click on that. 10 minutes. 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And you have to download it. It's called Primer. Find it in the App Store. And so far I only did one and it was totally worth it.
For Android and iPhones.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, we'll find out.
I doubt Google would put something out just for iPhones.
Yes.
So my guess is probably. I have an iPhone. It's on mine. I can't imagine that they're saying, "I know, fuck those Android users."
Because.
So anyway, yeah. So one of the things, maybe if you're interested, take a look at it, and we can talk about how, because that might be a good topic. Like pick one to do every week.
Yeah.
And talk about what we did and what we learned.
Yes. As we're trying to we're trying to
put this together,
develop some more structure to our show, and I think but putting the right amount of time into it.
No, we're not, but we will. And also, also in the entertainment news, briefly, if I can, and impose upon you to visit shorecraftbeer.com. We have a list of everything that's going on at all the craft breweries for New Year's Eve. At oceancity.com. There's a bunch of stuff. If you're coming into town for New Year's Eve.
Yes.
I always leave town on New Year's Eve, and I'm happy for that.
Jersey?
We go to Jersey, and I play Risk. I've played Risk every New Year's Eve for like the last decade. Yeah. And it is fun. And then we get really loaded and walk down to the beach and see the sun come up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Our as we're sliding into it, our New Year's Eve is going to be quiet here. We're actually working New Year's Day up at the Starboard.
You do that, right?
Yeah. So, and actually, we have a nice little bonus this year. Thank you to Monty at the Starboard. He said, "Come up, film. We're doing some Dewey business partnership. They have a Dewey business partnership. We're doing some filming for a number of the businesses in Dewey." And then he said, "I got you a room at the Hyatt.
Oh, that's awesome.
Go put your stuff away. Come back. Enjoy yourself at the Starboard with Laura Lee. She plays and she's a lot of fun." And yeah, so. And he said, "I got you a room. Come and enjoy yourselves. And I've already instructed everybody to overserve you."
That's awesome.
So thanks for that.
Take a look when you're down there at Gary's Beach Grill. Did I tell you what they're doing at Gary's Beach Grill?
No, did you?
I don't know. The most exciting thing in craft beer, I think that's happened.
Oh, did you tell me this? That they're
going to have craft beer there. They're going to brew it there. They're getting a homebrew system.
Oh, really?
And
you didn't tell me that.
They got permission from the state and the town, everything to brew what they brew. And right on property, they're going to do it 10 gallons at a time.
Oh, fun.
So just whatever their beer is. But even better than that, and I heard this, and if you see them and can you confirm this, I'd like to go down there and do a story. I just haven't had the chance. But if you see them and can confirm this, they're also supposed to have guest homebrewers come in.
Oh, really?
So if you're a homebrewer, like accomplished, not award-winning, but if you know what you're doing and you want to go in there and make a beer for them to have on tap,
right?
There's gonna be a mechanism for that.
That's awesome.
Yo.
Hello.
Hello.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Give that to Nelly for me.
I will.
Awesome job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
I feel like we're at Pee-wee's Playhouse all of a sudden.
That's good. Thanks, Gussie.
It's Lawrence Fishburne, the mailman. Was that Lawrence Fishburne?
That was Lawrence Fishburne. So that sounds awesome. Bringing guest home brewers.
That's the rumor.
Gary's Beach Pub.
Gary's
right
Beach
there in Dewey Beach.
Yeah.
There will also be, hey, you know what? Spoilers.
Right.
Because I know there will be a new raw bar restaurant, oyster bar, coming to Dewey Beach as well. So stay tuned.
Is that a Starboard?
Stay tuned for that. Yes.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
There's only 6 blocks. They may as well have a restaurant on all 6.
Right. Exactly. Why not?
So lots of good stuff. Stay tuned to us. Follow us on social media. Follow me at my name backwards, OSSURYNOT on Twitter. And I'm on Facebook as well, Tony Russo Writer.
And follow me on Facebook and Instagram, Todd DeHart or Good Clean Fun Life. And also on Snapchat.
Yeah, follow on Snapchat. I want to follow on. Snapchat's one of those. I
still think it's.
I delete it. I put it back. I delete it.
Yeah, I still think it's gonna be one of those things that. So you can actually. No. Take a screenshot of that.
Yeah, in case you don't have enough blurry things on your computer.
Yeah, just put a picture.
All right. Well, we are running out of juice. We are running out of time. We are running out of things to talk about. So. May God give you the sense to live in a small town.
We'll see you next week at Happy Hour. Cheers.